class. And then a blank sheet in front of your trifold for feedback. Or there might, Stacy also had other ideas of getting people's feedback, like how much your business plan really stuck with people when you made your 2-minute announcement. So we're not sure whether this could happen both days. The 2-minute pitch, we're going to try to push for that to be Sunday so that EJ League folks can be part of it if you're planning to attend on Sunday. But other than that, if people have any other suggestions or questions or ideas on this?
You can be a sponsor, you don't have to pay, but if 3 members of your organization are coming, you can be a sponsor. So you can have your name displayed on the materials and announcements.
There's no monetary requirement to be a sponsor, it's just bringing 3 people. And 3 people can pay registration or do the sliding scale or trade.
Let me ask you another question. Well, since I'm working as an independent now, bringing my business proposal to this type of arena, 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna get some hits. I hate to I hate to show my tail feathers and I'm not really give up the work right now because of equipment issues and, you know.
So maybe this doesn't apply to you because your co-op is in transition kind of thing?
Yeah,
so.
I would like to. This is a good media.
But if you have a business idea that is in a place where you want to present something like this, then
Because 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna get some hits. Something like this.
Any other questions or suggestions?
Our business has to figure out staffing for cookout. It's a big fundraising one for us. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to make that again. But we'll stay in touch. We'll get you back in touch.
All right, so did anyone prepare a slightly longer elevator pitch that they'd like to test on the group? This is similar to what you might bring to stage. Yeah, go for it.
Alright, so our elevator pitch is the Green Drive Bus is a youth-led cooperative enterprise that is powered by locally processed vegetable. We provide affordable, eco-friendly group transportation as well as an eye-popping mobile venue that can be custom fit for your creative needs. The bus is equipped as a multimedia learning lab that we use to build power for a healthy environment.
Great. Any feedback on that?
Could you read it again? Yeah. The Green Drive Bus is a youth-led cooperative enterprise that is powered by locally processed vegetable oil. We process we don't process. We provide affordable, eco-friendly group transportation as well as an eye-popping mobile venue that can custom fit your creative needs. The bus is equipped as a multimedia learning lab that we use to build power for a healthy environment.
Feedback? Had some good sound bites, right? Eye-popping mobile venue lab.
And in addition, we can also do, how do I say, small local advertising, you know, because you're that side of the bus. You might want to consider doing some, small advertising. That'll help supplement your income, If it's available. That's good.
Any other feedback?
We had a quick question about that. We asked people. We were kind of thinking of that actually more as like a mission statement, but then we realized it was in the section for the elevator pitch, and then we thought, well, can't they just be the same thing? Like, if you got a good sounding mission statement, couldn't that just be your elevator, like your short, quick description? Do they need to be different things, or can they be the same? Is that a problem?
The elevator pitch is like typically more like
told me or anyone all the ways that we could like be involved with you or like use your services. Whereas like the mission statement I just again like broader, like more values based. Your values are in there, but like you also said like you can use it for this, this or this, and this is what we do.
And if I may, in addition, maybe expanding into like a senior citizen center or something like that in the area, and so we provide low cost or maybe even free transportation to, just to humanitarian, so people can support you and they'll donate maybe the fuel more so if you're providing services for, the locally elderly, if your bus is capable.
Future focuses ended up being very similar to our mission statement with a few more concrete like commercial pitches, and we have good prices. That's something you wouldn't say in a mission statement, but you might have in your elevator pitch if you're talking to someone. It's also, elevator pitches is more something that you can, like key points that you would actually memorize and say, or not memorize, but have, kind of prepared so you can say it. Mission statement could be something, could be in that realm too, but it's nicely crafted words usually in mission
I
statement.
felt as like this was more of like just something that we can write to.
Flyers to send out or something.
Yeah, like more of a like send out type thing. Whereas, this corp is based from a bunch of different people, a bunch of different hues, and we all are going to be saying the same things, and we all have our own ways of saying it. And so I feel like that this was just more of a like template, I guess, and like you can fill it in however you want with whatever you want, because we're all different. We don't all speak like this. Yeah.
If you do that, I know because like we struggle with that a lot with like our program, not our products, but like the whole program, just because everyone like you don't want it to sound forced and like it's
Make
really
it your own,
complicated
yeah.
or make it your own. And so I feel like it can be really helpful a lot of times to use acronyms of like if you're like, oh, these are like the 4 things that we want to make sure everyone is saying so we have a consistent message. If you can make it into like an acronym to remember it. So like for us, our like 4 major areas, we remember it with plus. So it's like professional development, life skills, urban agriculture, social justice. And that way if you like are trying to explain the program, you get lost and you forget, you can just like remember that those initials and it will help you stay on track.
Very good. Any other feedback or suggestions on that point? Any other groups do more work on their elevator pitch? Extended 7-second pitch? Okay, moving on to other weekly challenge reports. Did anyone do more work on their market research, customers and competitors, questions, feedback on that people would like to report on?
We did a few for the first time, finally. We did 3 surveys, and got some good info. We did like the 5 specific questions we found on this group, and got some good feedback on like what people think about how much a pedicab should cost. So like one person we asked was like, oh, I wouldn't take a pedicab unless I had like $40 in my pocket. And we're like, oh, that's what you're expecting to pay? Yeah, that's what I would expect to pay. And then one person's like, oh, I'd pay $7 to $10 to take a ride. Like, so there's definitely like different perceptions on how much it costs, and that would be something we need to think about and work on. And then we got some good feedback on like the scenarios in which people would take a pedicab. Like most people considered it something for a special occasion, or like I don't know. Some of these things are like really questioning: is it just perception? Like people think it's only something for special occasions, or is that the only time people would want to be riding open air in a bike-powered vehicle? Like, so some good stuff, but we need to figure out how to like analyze it and what it means for us.
It's a little bit unrelated, but in terms of the thing like if only I have like $40 in my pocket kind of thing, I'm just thinking like I know for myself, like I so rarely have cash on me now, like when I do it disappears so fast and like a lot of people just don't have it. But do you always do like Square or like any of those kinds of ways of paying
Yeah,
for it?
we do credit cards.
It helps a lot. People are
No one has cash
actually using them a lot.
Yeah.
And in new industries or new businesses, you have to shape people's impressions too, right? Or shape what, and through marketing is how you're gonna have to, if maybe your market ploy is same as the taxi, more fun, or something like that, if people's perception is that it's always gonna be much more expensive or something, but that's not the factor. But, I know with Toxic Soil Busters, we had to do, soil contamination is a real problem. We had to do the education and creating people's perceptions of it because it was a new concept.
Well, one way that we're kind of marketing the change perception is, the various places that we wait for fares, like not just outside not just outside the theater, but also like, we'll park in front of the train station alongside the car taxis. And, so we're just another yellow cab, just a little different. So that's kind of promoting the more everyday use.
Any other feedback?
At least I feel like with $40 one, it's like they look at it and it looks like if it would be worth $40, but seeing that it's not $40, they feel like they would have a more pleasant experience. So it looks like it's luxury, but it's cheaper.
But the problem was this person was saying in the context of like,
Yeah,
I hardly ever have $40,
yeah.
so I would feel bad, like flagging me down unless I had that much money. So,
I can see that.
But it's good, people see that's like worth value highly, I guess, or something.
But I took a pedicab in Boston once, and it was so expensive.
I told you how much to
How
pay.
much is so expensive?
I thought it was very expensive. It was two people, and one person had taken it before, so he gave $25. So I'm like, I don't have $25, and he's like, it's okay. And I give him like $10, but it was like $6.
That's a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
I think people think it's overpriced because it's someone physically pulling someone, when you think of like, a taxi is like, they're not, their energy is just, just sitting on a chair and a gas pedal, but that physical energy coming out of a person is kind of like, whoa, they put themselves in your position.
And that's our challenge is that there's some people who think we are the same as a taxi cab and pay us the same, and that doesn't feel okay because we are doing a lot more work, so there is definitely a difference there. But then there's also these there was really bad media for pedicabs last year because someone in New York charged two people $700 to go 10 blocks. Because he had some really, they have in New York, they have to post what their fares are, and he had fine print that said there's a $300 per person rider fee or something like that. So I'm like, Nicole, and these people were tourists, and they must have had that much money because they paid it. But then afterwards, they turned into this huge scandal, and of course all these newspapers took it up, and so people always bring that up, or that's shaped a lot of people's perceptions about the industry and thinking it's severely overpriced and everyone's out just to scam you. So we have to combat that a little bit too.
You may have already addressed this, but in previous sessions, how do you structure your fare? I have no clue.
Yeah, right now it's just choose your own price. You pay what you think the ride is worth. That's what we tell people. So and that means a lot of things to different people.
Sure.
So we get all different spectrum, but we like it because people can pay based on you pay based on what's in your pocket, obviously, or what you think is reasonable for you. So it gets more people into our cabs because they know they have the control over the price. But we also do offer suggestions for people being that ride is usually 10 to 30 would be a good, or try to offer a broad scale.
Ballpark figure.
Let me ask you, during your route, other people's route, are you familiar with the historical sites in your community? And do you point them out as you pass through?
We offer historical tours as one of our, we're working on that as a product.
Okay, anyone else do more work on their market research, competitors, customers, that stuff? A lot of people reported last week with the updates.
A little bit, I didn't get any answers back yet, but I found another possible competitor to compare ourselves to, and it's Bus. which operates in Boston and Providence, and it's like a straight up party bus, which we don't really do that much of, so it's not really a straight competitor, but it was just helpful for us to see on the website they got like 4 different vehicles, and it's like 25 person, 30, 35, and 40, and then they say like as low as somewhere between $25 and $35 a person for each of those, depending on the size of the bus. So that, you know, I think it's like they rent it for like the night for like $800 or something around there. So just because of, I mean, with that, I'm assuming they, you know, include alcohol and that kind of stuff with it too. So it's a different thing. And
They totally do.
No, you don't think so? You
No, I've done a practice
Oh, okay.
before.
Oh, because you're the BYOB guy thing?
Yeah, it's just to get you around.
Wow. Okay.
But
then
you
you'd be
could,
jumping.
and because you can bring alcohol onto the bus,
Right.
like legally, which you can't do in other vehicles, but
Right.
you
Okay. So anyway, yeah, they gave us a little bit of a like idea of what those other companies are worth. And I contacted them to see if they'd let us know like who their insurance company is, and to try to be like, we're not going to compete with you because we do sober things and youth and you know community organizations. And if anyone asks about a party bus, I'll definitely send them your way. So who's their insurance company? How much do they charge?
Did they answer?
No, just I emailed them today,
Oh.
so we'll see.
To that end, this is an article that was in the Globe a couple weeks ago. I just thought it was an interesting juxtaposition of two things that are going on here. One, you're using a bus, but also people growing their own food, and they're using a bus to transport it. So I don't know if that's something that you might do like one day a week, go to a farmer's market, or be a farmer's market.
Right.
You know, if you could
It's
identify
it's in our thought,
Okay.
but then we got like, we're offering too much, so
Right.
before we get like.
Yeah.
Can we keep this article? Did you bring this?
Yeah, no, it's for you.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else on the marketing part? How about the licensing? Did people do any more work on licensing and report? Have any report on that?
That's the new sheet.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything on licensing, and so, and this is, I have a question that maybe I'll ask in, if it fits in better in a different section, or maybe for afterwards. But, it's basically, so the group that I'm working with,
One mic.
sorry.
Excuse me, sorry.
That's okay, and you can tell me if it doesn't fit in this section, but the group that I'm working with in Rhode Island, which is a worker center, has an interest, they have a pool of, member leaders who are coming from industries like the cleaning industry, childcare, cleaning, construction, manufacturing, etc., like low-wage industries in Rhode Island. And we're interested, what we're talking about is the idea of founding a cooperative, for-profit cooperative enterprise that workers from the worker center could come and be part of. And then it would be independent from the worker center, but also linked in the same way that I think a lot of groups in here are linked, like with Youth Grow and you guys, like linked back so that maybe eventually profits could go back into the worker center. So my question is, the stage we're at right now is really just an idea stage where basically like the staff of the worker center, myself as an independent consultant person, and then some of the members of the worker center are really interested in this idea, and we're starting to talk about it, and we're getting to the point where there's potential chances to go for grants or for loans or for different sources of money that might help us start it up. But we really don't have anything defined beyond just we have workers and we want to start a cooperative, and we have ideas of like the 2 or 3 industries that we might that seem the most viable to be like a match for our membership, and then also just things that could be lucrative. And they're cleaning, childcare, and food production, like whether it's catering or just like informal cooking, but eventually maybe becoming a restaurant or whatever. So I have like a really technical question, and it's about kind of like which comes first, the chicken or the egg, and it has to do also with like membership development and leadership development within the co-op, because what we're running into is like, do people think that we should do a feasibility study first of which industries are viable? And then kind of go to workers and say, okay, now who matches who has skills that match this industry? Because we have workers with skills in lots of different industries. Or should we start by gathering workers and saying, what do you wanna do? Which might be challenging because many people will come to the table with very different very different abilities and backgrounds, and, you know, so that might be challenging to kind of like guide that. So anyway, this is a little off topic, but if this is kind of like a beginning discussion time period, I had that question.
Are people okay with taking a few minutes on this question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I got it.
Camille and Don?
Yeah, I got it. Beautiful. You got multi-talented people in your group. My suggestion would make a list of their most prominent talents, and then the ones that, the talents that are most blendable, and the majority rules, and concentrate your efforts in that area of majority. That would be my suggestion. And
So kind of like do a survey everyone and then
survey everyone
go
and
move forward by kind of like majority vote.
no, majority of talent.
Majority, yeah.
Because if there's a carpenter, electrician, and there's a plumber, and there's a mason, that's more in the concrete and general construction. But if you got chefs and I don't know, pastry makers, and that's more in the catering business, and then, you know, so they're decorating or whatever, I don't know.
So,
Diana, did you? Diana?
I just like wanted to say like it depends on your population, because if you have a lot of Latinos folks, we organize differently than how people organize in the US, and that like the cultural shift can be different. Cause like we usually first start doing the stuff and then we figure out how it's gonna work kind of thing. Like we like you know like jump in and I feel like that has been a challenge for me when I came here. When we started, well, I jump in the co-op with the co-op wasn't ready with the interpreters co-op, but I feel like a lot of the stuff was kind of like, this is the need, a lot of us have the skills, let's try to figure it out, and then we start getting grants to do that. When, in the other side, when I see like a lot of co-ops organizing here in the US, it's one person with one idea, and then they start that, and then people start getting into it, which is very different, right? So,
Yeah.
I think it depends a lot on your population too, like what they.
Yeah, that's kind of more the direction that it's moving organically, but then we had some conversations today that were like, wait, why are we doing this? You know, is the purpose of this to match the majority of the members of Worcester Laboral, or is the idea to just get something off the ground, and the interest, because it came up because the interest of the core people who have been having the conversations doesn't necessarily match like the skills of the majority of our members. There's like a little difference there, but
Brian, Grace, and I have something.
So it sounds like you've got some general ideas of categories that you want to pursue, but it would seem to me that given how hard it must be to do a startup or a feasibility study, and again, I've never done one, so I don't know how accurate they are, whether they can really predict your likelihood for success, but it seems that by doing that initially, you're making a choice that's more informed and more likely to succeed. And it sounds like you've got a wide range of skill sets to draw from, so whatever you end up deciding would probably be staffed
Like
from
you
that
said, the
group.
core people, I'm sorry.
Grace.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, isn't, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but isn't your co-op gonna sort of be designed to incorporate new members? Like, so it's not that the core people who are involved now will necessarily be the only members in the future.
yeah,
So I think
yeah,
like
hopefully.
with that in mind, I feel like we should definitely utilize at least a preliminary feasibility study with labor quotients and markets, because you're gonna be able to attract more funding, because it'll show you have a solid grounding. But also, I mean, if that is part of the direction of the co-op is to be, you know, social justice oriented, incorporating new people, then the decision really should be market based, not just on like personal preference.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be a stronger model that way.
And And there are some people in the co-op development arena that are really pushing, get the financing and the feasibility study together, and then bring people on. And there have been some issues with that. So evergreen cooperatives, it's been pretty successful, creating a lot of jobs, but buy-in from the workers is kind of a later process, and it's not, and it hasn't fully happened. And a similar process is happening in Springfield area with Wellspring Initiative. And there are some community folks at the table, but it's a lot of the early decisions are made by foundation folks, the anchor institutions. So there must be a way to have a better balance, right? Where it's really worker and community organization initiated and controlled. But there is a danger of the other way where people are ready to jump into a business, and it's a longer term investment, right? So it might not happen right away. There might not be funding to keep those people on. It could go towards burnout. It could backfire. Our experience, Jamil could probably talk to about, or Shane could probably say more, but we kind of got pretty far along without having some of the key things in place, and it's kind of falling apart, and people put a lot of time and energy into it, that volunteer time from the grassroots folks. So finding that balance is a tricky part. And then the relationship with the nonprofit is another whole conversation that I think we do definitely plan to have, and we're going to have a lawyer for the legal questions around it and stuff like that. So. But Ashley,
I was thinking that it'd be best to start with people and whoever's at the table decides what's going to happen, because models where someone else is creating co-op for other people, it doesn't work, and it's like a top-down sort of model. And a lot of people, I was at a conference with one, people were talking about the problems with that, which I think, is a lot of the kind of academic, we're going to find something feasible and marketable, and then we're going to bring other people into this. Whereas a successful co-op is going to be about people who have relationships and feel like they created it and have buy-in from the beginning. But of course that's tough with the you want to make sure it's something viable, but you have to trust that the people in the room are going to be able to do that stuff and figure it out as they go. That's just my gut.
No, this is really helpful.
Also,
Just to add to that also, I think, our experience might be a little bit different, because I feel like it's still more of like a project rather than a full co-op. We're trying to figure out how to make it a real kind of co-op like that can provide jobs kind of thing, but then we could do the same thing, kind of start with the people, the ideas, and just go on with where the energy was, and then not just the people involved, but then also what worked and where the money getting the money from, and with a combination of we got this grant, so now we can do this, or, which clients started working out, and so I feel like we never did a feasibility study to start things, but I feel like we can look back over the past 2 years of kind of just doing it and seeing what worked out, and people heard about it and were like, oh hey, can you provide transportation for this? And so we just did that, and now we can look back over the past 2 years of testing things out and seeing oh, this is where we've been making our money, this is what has been successful. And so I think it starts with maybe what people want to do, and then trying to start getting finance, and as we're putting the pieces together, that might help lead in the direction of the feasibility of, well, this part worked and this part didn't, and so that one's going to go growing more or something.
no, I was just going to mention that, I don't know, but you mentioned the core people, and they may not have the necessary skills, or they may feel deleted because the energy of the co-op is going in a direction where they can't really, how can I say, function. But at the same token, there's other things that they can do to help make that co-op or that mission successful, whether it be administrative, advertising, so forth and so on. So those core people won't feel negated or neglected. There's other administrative skills that they could do to fill that void.
You could also start with a pilot and do a feasibility study about growth too.
Yeah, I think like I said, it really does depend on what is the driving force for the members of the group, and if the driving force is jobs, job creation, job training, economic justice, things like that, then what the business is might not be the heart of the business. It might be that this is about training and job skills, empowering people to have employment, having them be business owners, and
might not be as essential as it is for some of our businesses, because that might not be the driving force behind it. And I think like, that's what I was thinking, but I might not, maybe that isn't like your business.
No, I can tell you, like, when we had the Co-op Academy in 2006 in Rhode Island, it was 4 co-ops that were already forming, and the one that started forming stronger because of those needs was kind of like just an agency of a job creation and job, like short jobs agency, like instead of people going to, you know, another one that it would treat them bad and like, you know, misclassify employees and whatever, just an agency that was run. It worked for a while and then, you know, like a couple of big people got into it and took it, you know, but at the beginning was people getting, instead of the agency getting $3 or $4 per hour for each person, just getting $1 per hour for functioning of the agency, and then people will have the job skills, whatever the job skills was, they would get a job somewhere else. So that could be maybe like, you know, instead of having a co-op or that, you can have like a kind of like a temp agency, you know, services oriented thing that you can do many things. Like, you know, you can hire if you want to cook or you want to. Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.